Welcome back to another live. Right now I'm watching the undercard of Tszyu versus Joey Spencer. I think we're a few fights away from that main event. In the ring right now is Andriy Saavedra versus Mikael Nielsen. They're fighting for the WBO International Middleweight belt, which is vacant. I'm tuning in partway through that fight, so from what I can tell, I believe Saavedra's winning the fight, but goodness, we're in the second half of the fight. We're in the 6th round of 10. Hey Sean, thanks for coming back. Appreciate your presence here. Also fighting right now is Richard Torres, the American Olympic silver medalist. He is fighting Vanello. Torres, U.S. heavyweight, is southpaw, a little shorter, stockier build, and Vanello's like the taller of the two. Not sure if you guys are familiar with either fighter. I mean, I've heard of Richard Torres, seen him before. He's in the South Cali area, so I think I've seen him around in some of the LA gyms. But I've never seen Vanello fight before. Right now, it looks like Torres just missed with a few wide overhand lefts. That overhand left will be a key punch for him. Now he's doing the Joe Frazier very low bob and weave, trying to come in with a body shot, but then winds up smothering a bit. So I think we're as far as the PBC card goes with Tszyu versus Joey Spencer, after this middleweight fight, I think we have a heavyweight fight. And, gosh. Yeah, we have a heavyweight fight between Brandon Grash and Liam Taliva. And then I think we have the main event of Tszyu versus Joey Spencer. So we gotta wait it out a little bit longer. The heavyweight fight does not appear to be for any type of title, so I'm not sure if that's just going to be a 4 or 6 rounder. But we will see. Hello, Steve Lee from Michigan. Welcome, welcome. I think this is maybe the first time we've seen you on one of our lives, but please do hit the subscribe button and hit the notification bell, Steve. We're here to talk about all things boxing and MMA. So if you're into combat sports, please check out some of the other content on our channel. I think you'll really enjoy it. I like doing breakdowns, pre-fight, post-fight. I also try to post, queries and questions to find out what folks think about different things in the area of combat sports. Steve is saying boxing comes on too late nowadays. Well, this particular card with Tszyu and Joey Spencer, it's airing. It's in Australia, so it's actually Sunday over there. I think it's like something crazy, like 3 in the morning or something ridiculous. But in any case, I guess that's why this sort of odd scheduling time. I mean, it used to be that the main event would start at around 8, at the latest 9 New York City time. So that would be like 6 p.m. on the West Coast, 5 or 6 p.m. Hey, EQ, thanks for coming back. Yeah, right now I'm watching a heavyweight fight between Richard Torres and a fellow named Guido Vanello from Italy. they're fighting on the top rank card, and there's a middleweight fight going on the PBC card. It's Saavedra versus Nilsson. Right now, it looks to me like Saavedra's pretty handily winning this fight. And looks like the heavyweight fight between Torres and Vanello is over. We're going to assume that that fight went to the A side, which is Richard Torres. No, Scissorin is asking if the Tszyu fight started yet, and Scissorin, we are 2 fights away from that. So right now we're watching this middleweight fight. We're in the 7th of 10, potentially 10 rounds. And then we got another heavyweight fight. Not sure if it's 4 or 6. Right now there's a pause in the action in the ring with Saavedra and Nelson as the doctor's wiping off Saavedra's face for some bizarre reason. Nilsson looks a little more, got a little more blood on him than Saavedra, but nevertheless, this fight, Saavedra continues to sort of push forward. And no surprise, Richard Torres Jr., the A side on the top rank card, wins versus Guido Vanello of Italy. It looked to me like Vanello put on a decent showing for himself. But if you're the B side, you're not getting a decision against an A side, especially somebody who came in with a bit of a pedigree and probably commanded a signing bonus. Top Rank's not going to squander their investment there. Okay, so Sean said, oh, Steve says Crawford versus Alvarez will be a good one. I have Crawford, but I like Alvarez. Yeah, is that fight absolutely made yet, or are they going to wait until Canelo fights? Is it Scott? Sorry, I'm messing the guy's name up. Sean says DAZN fights come on at 10 a.m. Yeah, today's card started really early. Broadcasting out of the UK. EQ says, yeah, my pirate stick wouldn't give me any of the boxing fights today. You can't steal them all, I guess. It's good I get to tune into you. Okay, cool, EQ. I'm not sure where you're located, but you could try crack streams or methstreams.com. All right. Yep, so that heavyweight fight, main event for Top Rank is over with Richard Torres Jr. winning. No surprise there. Oh, Steve Lee says, yes, it's made. The Crawford-Canelo fight, and he's saying September. Hi, Jay, Child of God. How are you doing? We're here to talk about boxing and combat sport, MMA, if you're so inclined. Okay, the action resumes. We're in round 8 out of 10 for Saavedra versus Nilsson. Saavedra continues to just come forward. Nilsson's trying to cover up, clinch a little bit. Nilsson crouching in low, grabbing when he can. Oh, and he tumbles to the ground. Not from any specific punch, I don't think. It was just, I think he was already off balance, bending over, trying to grab, and might have been even just a glancing blow that had him tumbling backwards. Again, Nelson's just covering up, double high guard, looking to survive. Occasionally throwing a punch and shelling up, but Saavedra's just obviously going to keep coming forward. All right, hi, Child of God. Ali, are you saying Ali is the greatest? Or, okay, so EQ says, I have a rigged fire stick. I usually gives me most of the fights, but not today. The Taurus fight. It had the icon, but when it went in, it was basketball. Well, that's weird. Okay, well, I'm sure Top Rank will post the fight and the highlights at least very shortly. All right, Saavedra's fight. Nilsson's down again in this round. Ref takes a close look at him. Ref is talking to him. I'm not sure. It's probably giving him a warning. Oh, and now the ref waves it off. So there we have it. Saavedra wins via TKO versus Mikkel Nilsson. Yeah, that was a tough stoppage for Mikkel Nilsson. He fought on as long as he could, but I think it was just accumulation of punches over the previous rounds that just finally wore him down. He was game though, so I give him a lot of credit. All right, guys, who do you have in the main event here? We're not at the main event yet, but it's Tszyu versus Joey Spencer. I'm certainly going to root for Tszyu in this one. I really hope he gets a win. I think he's a very likable fighter. And just around the corner next month, we have Naoya Inoue fighting Ramon Cardenas in Las Vegas, Nevada. That should be an interesting one for Naoya to fight here in the US of A in Las Vegas. Okay, EQ says he's definitely going for Tim. How about the rest of you guys? Who are you rooting for in this main event? Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Sean, for reminding everybody to hit the like button. Really appreciate it. Suzerain says, Tim scared me in the last two fights. Yeah, I mean, I feel he got jobbed for the Fandora fight. You know, they pulled a last minute switch. There was some real clever maneuvering by Fandora's manager. I mean, how do you manage to not only get your fighter swapped out for Keith Thurman at the last moment, but you also suddenly get him approved for a WBC title? That was some slick maneuvering there. And then, Tim was in there tough versus his last opponent. That was no easy fight for sure. And, it's hard to step right back into a world title shot off a hard fight versus Fandora. So it's almost like he needed an easier fight than that last one that he had. But they're kind of just throwing him to the wolves, so to speak. This should be a good test for Joey Spencer. So it's funny how the boxing industry moves. I'm not sure if PBC is like trying to cash out Joey Spencer or what the deal is, or if they just don't care. So Andries Saavedra wins the WBO International, meaning a minor belt, but it's a belt nevertheless. So, this is part of why Dana White was saying boxing is so broken, because there's just so many belts and so many champions. Nobody knows who they are because it's so diluted. All right, what fights are you guys looking forward to? Are you guys going to tune in for Naoya Inoue in May? Are you guys excited about Ryan Garcia versus Rolly Romero? Sorry, I'm going to have to step away just briefly because got a bit of a head cold, so I got to keep blowing my nose. Excuse me while that happens. Oh. Tank versus Roach 2. Yeah, I mean, that was ridiculous, I thought. If they followed the actual rules, Roach should have won that fight, right? I mean, that was a knockdown. Tank not only touched his knee to the ground, he then walked over to his corner and stuck his head through the ropes. So I don't know why, the ref didn't call it a knockdown. But even if the ref didn't call it a knockdown, the judges can still rule it a 10-8 round. They don't have to um, wait for the ref to call a knockdown. That's judges can do that even if there is no knockdown. If they feel one fighter is that much more dominant, they're allowed to award it a 10-8 round. So, yeah, that Tank Roach fiasco is inexplicable, except that it's the dollar flow. The commission gets a percentage of the winners, the champions' purse. The commission gets a percentage of the champion's purse. So who do you think they want to win? Who makes them more money? The guy with the bigger purse, which happens to be Tank. So it's not really rocket science, as they say. EQ says, no good fights coming up, honestly. Maybe Benavidez versus Ramirez if it gets made. That's an interesting point. Yeah, Zurdo versus David, that would be an interesting fight for sure. Sean says, someone interviewed the referee. He said he couldn't speak on it. Yeah, I bet he couldn't. I'm not sure if Roach's people have filed something against the commission, but they should, definitely, because, why not? You got to stand up for your fighter. They should take whatever legal action they can, because justice wasn't really served in the ring. All right, so now we're cutting to some B-roll of footage of Tszyu and Tszyu, a young Tszyu, and current footage of Tszyu working out with his trainer. What I like about Tszyu is he seems to me to be a very level-headed guy, very humble, very hardworking. What do you guys think? Do you think Lamont Roach won that fight versus Tank Davis, or do you think Davis deserved to get the W, even though he touched his knee to the ground? Interesting that they have Mauro Ranallo and Abner Mares on the desk, as we call it, calling this fight. I don't know if they're actually in Australia or they're watching this via, a stream or something, because they don't look that they're at the venue itself. They're just sitting at a desk with some headphones on. I mean, Abner Maris has a nice voice, but I'm not so sure. I think he's the best guy to have on a desk. I guess Al Heyman really likes him or something. Sean says, I think Roach has Tank's number. That was a spanking. Yeah, it was a really good fight. I mean, I thought Tank was going to take it, but one, I think Tank didn't look up to his best for whatever reasons. I think he's mentally distracted at this point in his career. He was already talking about retiring and how boxing's not, I don't know, treating him right or something. So it sounds like he's got a little sour grapes with boxing. And then on top of that, Roach is a very good fighter and was really not intimidated by Tank, probably as some of Tank's other opponents have been. All right, so now we got Sean Porter interviewing Tszyu. EQ says, did you see the Pro Box fights? They had a couple good ones. The main event was explosive. Second round knockout by what looks to be another Pitbull Cruz, trained by Pitbull's dad. Oh, interesting. Yeah, EQ, I kind of watched those fights a little half-heartedly. I saw the fight before that main event, which was interesting because was it Lopez hurt his lead hand partway through the fight, but still managed to be very clever and deft, and he got the W. I don't think it was perhaps as wide as some of the scorecards, but I mean, nevertheless, he did get the win. So props to him for fighting through with an injured lead hand. Okay, so now we are getting geared up for this heavyweight fight. Liam Taliva, not sure how to pronounce that. Um, is he from New Zealand, guys? Let's see. He's only got 7 fights. His opponent only has 3 fights. Taliva. Oh, I guess he's from Australia. Born in New Zealand, now living in Australia. He's fighting Brandon Grash. Or Gratch. Yeah, I'll have to rewatch the Pro Box main event. So, guys, what does that flag that Taliva's waving represent? Or Taliva's, yeah, the blue rectangle with the red against a larger red background. If says, yeah, go back and see that. See that one? I was hearing it more than watching it. I saw the main event though. This guy is gonna make noise in the future. Cool. Okay, I will definitely check that out then. Alright, so Brandon is gonna come out to Money for Nothing. That ain't working. Coming out to the Dire Straits. Gotta love it. Alright, excuse me again, guys. Oh, I gotta say, please do consider joining the channel as a member if you're into boxing and combat sport. That way you will get early access to all of our content, or not all of our content, but much of our content, and priority replies for me in the comments. You'll also get a cool little belt ranking icon. Each month you get promoted. You start out as a white belt, of course, then you'll get promoted to yellow, orange, green, blue, etc. Black, brown, purple, black. Yeah, you can make your way all the way up to coral belt. Okay, both fighters are in the ring. Brandon Grash versus Taliva. All right, so Liam Taliva is about 230 pounds. Big boy. Looks like he's in pretty good shape. He doesn't have a belly or anything, so that's pretty solid 230. Liam Taliva. All right, what did you guys think of the fights earlier today? I was hoping Joe Joyce would would pull it off, but he didn't quite get the job done versus Filip Hrgović. Huge props to Filip Hrgović for getting the W in spite of taking this fight on relatively short notice. I'm guessing he fought the way he did, probably because he didn't feel like he was in the greatest of conditions. So it did actually make sense for him to sort of try to hold his ground against the ropes or in the corner and just try to look for counter shots. All right, so we're getting the two chief principals being introduced in the ring right now. Liam Taliva and Brandon Grosh. Grosh has the considerable height advantage over Taliva. Referee gives his final instructions. Both fighters head back to their corner. Their chief seconds step out of the ring. Looks like Liam Taliva is fighting at a southpaw, and the taller Brandon Grosh is fighting orthodox stance. Right away, Taliva's nice high guard with his rear hand. Holds his jab hand high, looking to use his footwork to circle to his left. Jab to the body from Taliva. Another feint jab to the body, feint jab to the head. Grosh seems to just want to kind of advance with short steps. Grosh is parrying the jab with his jab hand. Trying to time Taliva. Nice little exchange there from the two men. Taliva winds up with landing a jab to Grosh's chin. Oh, this is an 8-round fight. Kind of surprised that, but I guess they want to let these guys get some experience. Lots of feinting motions by both men with their jab hands. Taliva is a little more, the more mobile person right now. He's continually circling around to his left, making level change feints and jab feints. Brandon is keeping a very sort of disciplined guard. Both men disciplined. High rear hand, active jab hands, subtle head movement. Brandon is trying to get his jab right hand going. Liam continues to sort of peer and probe with his jab hand. Sometimes right now, he's dropping his lead hand. Then he brings it back up to his forehead. Nice right hand landed for Brandon. Liam seems to kind of fly back when he senses that Brandon's going to come forward. Oh, nice attempted 1-2 by Liam. Brandon now moving more to Brandon's right. And that's the round. Close round to score. EQ says, do I read it all? Sorry for the short question. What do you mean, like? Yeah, I enjoy reading books. I try to read every morning a little bit. Sometimes I'll read at night if I'm not too tired. I think it's a good habit to get into, to actually read an analog book as opposed to something digital, you know? How about you? Have you guys read any good books lately? Anything you'd recommend? I just started reading this book called 59 Seconds, Change Your Life in Under 1 minute. So far, I mean, I'm just barely into it, but I think it's pretty good. It's got some practical exercises in there you can do. All right, back to round 2 of this heavyweight action. 8-rounder between Brandon Grosh and Liam Taliva. Liam is a southpaw. He's a shorter, stockier fighter. Brandon has at least, I think, a 6-inch height advantage on him. And he's fighting orthodox. So both men making lots of probing motions with their jab hand, which is to be expected when you have a righty-lefty matchup. Nice attempted 1-2 and another 1-2 from Liam. Oh, Brandon catches Taliva coming in with, Brandon catches him with a short hook counters. Brandon looks like he's really trying to time Taliva on the way in. Men fall into a clinch for a moment, get separated by the ref, right back at it, center of the ring. Taliva comes in with a 1-2 and Brandon counters him. Brandon with a nice sharp jab to the head. Very focused, both fighters. Very intent. Liam trying to make a little sort of body language motion, moving his upper torso, changing the level of his lead jab hand quite a bit. Sometimes he's throwing kind of a back fist, an up jab. Sometimes he'll drop his jab hand. He's just trying to confuse Brandon as much as possible. Brandon now starting to open up with some body shots first. Oh, okay, there we have a nice counter jab left hand from Liam. Brandon with a 1-2. Liam comes right back with a counter. Less than 20 seconds to go here. Still lots of feigning motions from Liam. Oh, nice little short right uppercut from Liam on the inside. And that's the round. Oh, quality matchup between these two heavyweights. It's a nice thing to see. They both look like they're in good shape. They both look trim. And they both are technically sound. EQ says, yeah, read. I wish I was a better reader, though. I hear people say they read whole books in a few or a couple nights. I can't really do that. I think they lie either or just skim through the book. Yeah, EQ, I don't think there's a huge point in just blowing through, a book a day, a book a week, maybe a book a week. It depends how thick the book is, right? But sometimes I find myself reading and rereading the same section just because I want to really make sure I get whatever the book is saying. So, to each his own. It depends also if you're reading for pleasure, or fiction, or you're reading to learn something. In any case, but I do think there's a lot of value in reading analog books. All right, so here we are in the third of 8 rounds of this heavyweight matchup between Brandon Grosh and Liam Taliva. Brandon Grosh is a righty and Taliva is a lefty. Both men kind of peering at each other right at the moment. both maintaining a high double guard. Grosh slowly marching forward with a 1-2, and Liam counters him on the way in and then holds. Oh, nice right hook by Liam. Lands well. This is a quality sort of beginner-ish heavyweight fight. Both men have less than 10 fights, so. Nice jab feinting motion by Liam. I think that's key for him as a shorter heavyweight. Oh, and a nice right hook by Liam. Catches Brandon, drops him. Referee's giving him the count. Didn't see that coming, but that's what it is with heavyweights. Just one punch can, all it takes is one punch. And that one landed nice and solid. Good timing. All right, is Brandon making a mistake here by stepping right back in there? Liam getting a little cute now, kind of bending at the waist a little more. Oh, nice straight left by Liam. And another. He's putting the combinations together well now. He's got his confidence really going. Could this be it? Still more than half a minute to go here for Liam versus Brandon. I think Brandon was definitely hurt after he got dropped there. A little more stationary, still swinging. Nice jab, right uppercut from Brandon. Oh, but Brandon, as he comes in for another uppercut, gets clipped. Brandon has a mouse underneath his right eye at this point. It's good to see he's still moving his head, coming forward, throwing hard punches. Nice right uppercut from Brandon. Falls into a clinch. I think Tszyu knows that it's his right hook that dropped Brandon, so I'm sure he's looking to land that one again. Oh, and Tszyu closes out that round with a nice 4-punch combo. Great job. All right, so Tszyu definitely looks like he's up in this fight. So the commentators are calling that more of a push than a punch by Tszyu, but nevertheless, Brandon was on the canvas, so it's most definitely a knockdown. All right. We're at the 4th of 8 rounds of Liam Tszyu versus Brandon Grosh, and Grosh just got dropped by a right hook from the southpaw Liam Tszyu in the previous round. So we have the, oh goodness gracious, and Liam touches the canvas, but the ref waves it off as a slip. Liam pops right back up with a big smile. Now Brandon hits the canvas again. The ref rules it a slip. I'm not sure if that there's too much water on the logo on the canvas in the middle of the ring or something. Sometimes when there's just too much liquid on that logo that's printed in large letters on the center of the canvas, it just gets too slick. In any case, both men right back at it in terms of action here. Liam throwing nice solid jabs and using good upper body movement to avoid Brandon's counter shots. He's slipping and weaving underneath. Both men with a responsible high guard. Brandon seems like he wants to get back that knockdown from the previous round, because he is stepping right in. Jab right hand, double right hand. Not sure why the referee's stopping. Oh, because the mouthpiece came out. Referee stopping the action. That was Liam Taliva's mouthpiece that came out. So the ref stopped the action, let Liam's corner put that mouthpiece back in after rinsing it off, and we've resumed the action now in the 4th of 8 rounds. Both men in the center of the ring. Brandon. Both men throwing hard combinations right now. I'd say Brandon's a little bit stiff in terms of his steps at the moment, but he's still able to load up on his punches. He parries Liam's jab with his jab hand. Both men still fairly light on their feet. Yeah, 10-second round, and Brandon opens up with a combination. Taliva lands with a hard right hand right at the end of the round. The guy working Taliva's corner kind of looks like Alex Volkanovski's coach. I don't know if it's the same guy or not, but from the back camera angle that we got, it kind of looks like, is it Richard Lopez that's Volkanovski's coach? In any case, here we go. We are in the 5th of 8 rounds. We're in the second half of this heavyweight matchup. It's actually a decent fight. I mean, for two pro fighters that have less than 10 fights, decent skill level. Oh, goodness. Liam just dropped Brandon for the second time. Barrage of punches. Those landed pretty solid. He beats the count, but Liam is just marching forward, throwing bombs. Drops Brandon again, and it gets waved off immediately. Wow. Taliva is quite happy about that win. Good stoppage win for him. So this is a rematch, apparently. So I think they're 1-1. Excuse me. So that's kind of funny. The commentators calling for a trilogy now, that these fighters are 1-1, but they're so young in their career that, you know, you don't want to get caught up with a trilogy maybe at this stage of the game. You might want to, both fighters should just move on and try to advance their career from here. It's not like they're fighting for the heavyweight title of the world. Oh, goodness gracious. Yeah, lots of right hooks, straight left hands from Taliva to close out that fight. I think once he dropped Brandon the first time, he knew he had him hurt, and he knew that that right hook would be key. So he was just, I think his confidence just soared from right there. So, all right, guys. So we're moments or minutes away, hopefully, from the main event. Hopefully, they don't give us a delay because this fight was, ended earlier than didn't go the full duration, 8 rounds. Congrats to Liam Taliva for stopping Brandon Grosh, who apparently knocked him out the first time they met. First time I'm seeing either man fight, and thought it was a quality heavyweight fight for considering both fighters have less than 10 fights apiece. So he now moves to 7-1, with that lone loss coming to the man he just stopped. All right, so if you excuse me for one moment, guys, I'm gonna go grab something to drink. I'll be right back. Cheers, you guys. My favorite drink, of course. All right, so we're at commercial break. Tell me what you guys think about the next UFC fight card coming up. Who do you guys have? Volkanovski or Diego Lopez? What about Paddy Pimblett versus Michael Chandler? So I'm gonna root for Alex and Paddy, but I don't think those are uh, gimme fights in any case. Um, Diego Lopez is kind of surging. He says he feels like he could knock Alex out, stand up. I think Alex knows like this is a very important fight for him to win, so I expect him to come in fully prepared and just mentally ready for a tough fight. Um, I also think that Michael Chandler versus Paddy Pimblett is a tough fight, but I'm kind of giving. I don't know. I feel like the younger man in this case has a bit of an advantage. Um, so I think it's an interesting matchup all the way around. What do you guys think? Who do you have? Do you think Alex pulls it off versus Diego Lopez? Do you think Paddy Pimblett can beat Michael Chandler? All right, so we're kind of on a little break here. They're showing a lot of back footage of Tszyu. Let me know what you guys think about any of the upcoming fights, whether it's Ryan Garcia versus Rolly Ramirez, Tszyu versus, who's he fighting? Arnold Barbosa, Teofimo Lopez, or or the UFC fights. Something tells me Mauro Ranallo and Abner Maris are not at the venue in Australia. Something tells me they're still stateside because they're just sitting at a desk. They don't look like they're in a boxing venue. In any case, who are you guys' favorite boxing commentators? You would think that PBC or Amazon Prime could invest in a better studio setup than just having two guys in front of a blue velvet curtain backdrop and a desk. I mean, if you're gonna have talking heads for the fight commentary, have a better setup than that. But I'm not the producer here. Just wondering how much we're gonna have to listen to this prior to getting to the main event. It's 17 minutes after the hour, so I hope they don't spend more than another 3 minutes uh, filling up space. Okay, here we go with B-roll of the Australian landscape, I guess. Seascape. It's quite beautiful landscape in any case. Oh boy, okay, so now we're looking at footage of Tszyu. They're just looking for ways to fill up air time now. EQ says, none. I used to like the TV Azteca ones in Spanish. Yeah, that was a good broadcast, but just because they were funny. Got it. Not necessarily because they were better or more informed. Yeah, that does make sense though. I mean, the entertainment value is there's something to be said for that. Okay, so right now I feel like we're just I don't know. I feel like they had this package prepared to fill up space. No diss to Tszyu, of course. But that's always, I mean, it's always going to be part of Tim Tszyu's story. Okay, so you see, cut to footage of Tim Tszyu in his change room, warming up. Looks like he's wearing kind of an interesting camouflage type uh, ring outfit. Yeah, I'm just trying to fill up time here as we all wait for this main event to start. 19 minutes past the hour. I hope they don't try to stretch this out for another 11 minutes or something. Oh man, so now we keep going over what the keys to victory are for both fighters between Mauro Ranallo and Abner Mares. Uh, this is not a good setup, Amazon Prime. When you're trying to kill a space um, before a fight, you can't just have two guys with massive headsets on uh, and that mic in front of their mouth with nothing behind them. You got to have a better set than that. Look at what the UFC does if you want to see how to set up talking heads. Certainly, if they're not even on site, you could set up a better. You could definitely set up a better set than that. That looks like that's not even on the level of a YouTuber. Anyways. Okay, looks like we're about to actually get started here, 21 minutes after the hour. The City of God, EQ says, The City of God, that's probably the best book I've read so far. And honestly, I've only read the first half. It's a thick book. Oh, okay, cool. Is it fiction or nonfiction? City of God. By the way, guys, if you haven't yet hit the like button, please hit the like button. Please also subscribe. Consider joining the channel as a member. For just $3 a month, you get early access to a lot of the content. You earn a belt rank, which is kind of cool. A little belt rank symbol will show up next to your name in the comments. You'll get priority in terms of a reply from me when you do comment. All right, here we have Joey Spencer. He's kind of changed his look, hasn't he? He's gone back to not bleaching his hair blonde, and he grew a little mustache and goatee. So I don't know what that's about, but there we have it. A new look for Joey Spencer. Hey, Ellis Vlogs. Good to see you. Thanks for joining us for the second time today. Okay, so Spencer is in the ring. EQ says the second half starts to get too religious. Nonfiction. History, philosophy, theology, stuff like that. Okay, cool. Well, it might be worth checking out then. Okay, now we have Tszyu making his way to the ring. Walking through a kitchen with a couple of fridges. These guys really didn't think this out too well, but oh well. Now he's walking outside. This is really strange. Kind of reminds me of fighting at Yonkers Raceway, where the change room was in a different building than the actual ring. In any case. Okay, so now Tim has entered the arena by himself. I don't know where his cornermen are. I've always thought this is a strange thing they do now, where they have a fighter walking by themselves, meeting their corner people at the ring. It doesn't make any sense to me, but I'm not in charge. As far as I'm concerned, the fighter should walk out to the ring. You're going to war, you should have your army with you. Okay, so this is taking a while for him to get to the ring. I guess they're just trying to build up the drama or something. EQ says, I think Barbosa can pull off the upset win. What do I think? You know, I don't know. Just I wonder where Teofimo Lopez is at the moment, more mentally than physically. So, I haven't really probed a lot into trying to figure out where Teo's at. But if he's not got it all together, then yeah, I definitely think Barbosa could pull off an upset. I mean, I think he's physically capable of doing it, especially if Lopez is not on his A game mentally. Hi, welcome. You can beat them both. Okay, I'm not sure what you're referring to there, but in any case, welcome to our live stream party. We are watching Tszyu versus Joey Spencer. Probably it's the main event of the PBC card that's taking place in Australia. Hence the late start time for us, early start time for them. It's Sunday morning over there. Thank you guys for hitting the thumbs up button. Feel free to show your love. Send a super chat or a super thanks. If you're enjoying this broadcast, please be sure to check out some of our other fight breakdowns. You're always welcome to check out some of the other live watch parties, but maybe you'll enjoy the breakdowns. Maybe you'll like some of the little shorts. Please do subscribe. join as a member, get some exclusive members-only content. I'll throw up some members-only polls sometimes, or members-only shorts, just asking you to respond in the comments to different questions that I don't necessarily want to share with the public as large, so to speak. Okay, but here we go. We got both principals in the ring, Joey Spencer and Tszyu. Okay, so we're going through all the official announcements of who's bringing us the fight and whatnot. All right, has anybody got Joey Spencer in this fight? Thank you so much, Silas. I truly appreciate you for gifting a membership. That's so kind. Cool. So I can't quite see who the recipient of your membership gift was, but thank you, thank you, thank you. Welcome, Sacred Truths, OG. Cool. Silas, have you already joined as a member? I hope so. Oh, thank you, Silas. Appreciate you. I think you gifted a membership. That's what it says on the screen anyways, which is cool. It's nice to gift a membership. Appreciate you, Silas. To send money, you got to do a super chat. I'm not an expert on all those things either, but you know, all gifts are greatly appreciated. I think you can also gift rubies if you purchase rubies or whatever those are, jewels or something. But thank you so much. All right, how many of you guys think Alex Volkanovski will beat Diego Lopez? How many of you think Patty will beat Michael Chandler? EQ says, yeah, it was me. Thanks, man. Because I'm broke. Okay, cool. All right. Oh, Silas gifted another membership. Thank you so much, Silas. You are awesome. Yes, and I see EQ got that membership. Nice. Appreciate you very much, Silas. You're the best. Shout out to Silas for being so generous. I'm wondering if Joey's trying to look more mature with this new sort of look he has with going back to his dark brunette and sporting a goatee and mustache. Silas, I appreciate you very, very much. Thank you so much. All right, guys, be sure to hit the like button, show some love, hit the little hearts. Thank you, thank you. Feel free to leave a super chat, or you can be generous like Silas and gift a membership. Sacred says, I hope he keeps his hands up. Yeah. This could be an interesting fight. All right, so we have Tim fighting in front of his hometown crowd. Sure, that's pressure, you know? Oh, sorry, Silas says, call me Raymond's? Okay, Raymond's. That's cool. All right, we're about to get underway here. Oh, you got it, Raymond's. I'll warn you though, Raymond, you probably have to remind me the next time we do a live, or just because I'll see your name, your username, and just call you like that. But Feel free to remind me. Here we go. Opening bell. Both Tszyu and Joey Spencer fighting out an orthodox stance. Both men starting out cautiously. Responsible guard. Tim with a very high right hand guard. Both men sitting down, as it were. Throwing a lot of, kind of making sort of feint motions. Throwing single jabs. Oh, Joey opens up with a 1-2. Thank you so much, Raymond. I really appreciate you. You are awesome. Thank you for the gift. Tszyu with the probing jab. Joey with a jab to the body. Spencer choosing to hold his rear hand more in front of his chin, kind of very old school guard. Another jab to the body from Spencer. Jab to the chest from Spencer. Tim returns the jab to the jab upstairs. Both men throwing these single jabs, kind of probing, trying to figure out their distance. Tszyu really keeping that right glove glued to his eyebrow. Nice jab lands for Tszyu. Spencer kind of making feinting motions, circling to his left, trying to feint with his whole body, making kind of pawing motions with his jab. That's Joey Spencer. Tim staying nice and focused. High double guard, taking small steps towards Spencer. Spencer circles around to his left. Joey tries for a jab to the body. Spencer now jab to the head. Tszyu returns with a jab to the head that lands. Spencer still circling around to his left. Tszyu with a jab to the body. And there's the 10-second mark. Tszyu with the left hook. Doesn't land. Spencer with the right hand that doesn't land. And that's the first round. So both men just trying to get a read on each other in that first round. I would say Tszyu showed us that he can kind of get Spencer to move. He was sort of forcing Spencer to move and circle around without doing a lot, but just applying his forward pressure, taking those small steps forward, and just being very economical with his motions. Joey Spencer has his father as his chief second. Okay, so after that first feeling out round, let's see how the action unfolds in the second round. Right away, both men opening up with single jabs. Tszyu kind of taking small steps forward, probing jabs, keeping his left hand up very responsibly. Spencer with the jab to the body, back straight up, comes in straight in. I don't know. I think it's going to be a problem for Spencer if he tries to just move in and out on a straight line, which is kind of what he's doing right now. He's kind of using that fencing type motion, and then he'll circle around. Now he's moving around to his right. Now he's circling back out to his left as Tim just sort of as Tim comes forward. with very small steps. Tim comes forward with those small steps and then throws a single jab. Jab to the body from Joey Spencer. And he tries to feint with his upper body motion. It's a little bit of an amateurish movement to try to feint somebody out with that body motion like that. I mean, at this level of being a professional, you got to feint other ways other than making big motions like that. Because you're at a higher level of competition, so your opponent should be able to read smaller motions. Oh, body shot for Tszyu gets Spencer to move a little bit there. Crowd kind of cheers. Jab to the body from Joey. But Tim's just still got Joey backing up and moving. See, now Tim is starting to use the feinting motion to get Joey to move. And that's what I mean about having a little more sophistication at this level. Jab to the body from Tszyu. Oh, Tim kind of closing in on Spencer. Spencer's still backing up and circling to his left. Momentarily shifts to southpaw stance. Not sure that that's a great idea for him. So Joey Spencer now finding out a southpaw. Throws a left uppercut. Right jab. Oh, and Spencer touches the ground. Ref doesn't call it a knockdown. It really wasn't. He just slipped. But, you know, Spencer switching to southpaw like that and staying southpaw, kind of, it's a tell to me that he couldn't get done what he wanted to get done in orthodox stance. So he says, oh, I'm going to trick you by switching to southpaw. But no, maybe you should try to be more evasive or use better feints with your normal stance. I mean, those big, like I said, those big jolty motions with your upper body, that's a very amateur way of feinting. And as a pro with, you know, more than 10 fights or whatever, you should have other more subtle ways to feint. Like even with your eyes, you can feint. With very subtle hand movements, you can feint. Just by, if you have your hands up, just by turning your hand just a little bit, you can feint like you're about to throw a punch. So, and that's something that you would expect your opponent to be able to read at this stage of the game. So that's what Joey Spencer should be doing, not, you know, like jerking his body forward suddenly, or what you see amateurs doing when you tell them to feint is they'll stomp their foot on the ground, and it's like, I'm just going to ignore you if you do that because I know it doesn't mean anything. Stomping your foot on the canvas is not a punch. It's you stomping your foot, trying to get me to be scared and jump or something. I don't know. And anyways, here we are. The action resumes. We are in the third round of 10. Oh, excuse me for 1 sec. All right, now Joey's fighting with his lead hand down a little bit. Not sure that that's a great idea either. Falls into a clinch, takes a wizard grip over Tim's underhook. Or at least he's back in orthodox stance. Now trying to get cute a little bit, slipping and dipping. Now Joey's moving laterally to his right and his left. What he really needs to do is just get going with his jab, though, at this point. Now Spencer's circling to his left, comes in with a couple of body shots. Not a bad idea. Kind of adopts a bit of a shell defense. Clinches, but Tim's not having it and just whacks him with his free hand. We know Tim's not afraid to scrap on the inside, so he blocks with an elbow and then some nice tight little uppercuts on Spencer. Spencer's walking around to his right, puts up a high double guard. Oh, nice right uppercut, left hook from Tszyu, right in close. Men fighting at close distance now. definitely to Tim Tszyu's advantage here. He likes this. Tim kind of posting, going right hand, picking his shots, posting on Spencer's head, then drops a shot in. Oh, nice three-punch combination by Tim Tszyu right in the center of the ring. Both men with the high double guard staying at close range now. This is what Tim Tszyu loves. Big jab from Tim Tszyu. Spencer tries the big right hand. But Tim jab to the head, jab to the body, right hand, left. Tim using that jab hand to also post on Spencer's head in between punches. Spencer trying to roll underneath, but Spencer really needs to get his offense going as his defense. Okay, now Spencer opens up a bit with a jab and an uppercut. He needs to keep going once he starts. Jab right hand to the body for Joey Spencer. I think Spencer has to pick this pace up a little bit for himself. But Tim, what I saw in Tim right there this last round is he's just that he's not afraid to scrap. He loves to scrap, and I don't know that Spencer's quite used to that. You know, someone who's doesn't mind it, doesn't need it to be pretty. You know, Tim just wants to fight. Spencer talking to him after Tim lands a combination there. They show that in the replay. Okay, so will this be the will Joey Spencer be exposed by Tim Tszyu in this fight? Well, I don't like Spencer's just kind of backing straight up from Tszyu when Tszyu steps forward. Now Spencer's starting to pick it up a bit. But again, he does a level change feint that's a little too obvious. Oh goodness. Series of short uppercuts on the inside from Tim Tszyu. Really get Joey Spencer's head bouncing back a couple times there. Nice sharp jab from Tim Tszyu. Left hook from Tim Tszyu. Spencer tries to counter with a body shot. Spencer with his own uppercut right hand attempt. But he's covering up and standing toe to toe with Tim. Tim likes fighting at this distance. Just picking away with the little nice tight hard uppercuts and hooks. Spencer's putting on the earmuffs and he's just not active enough at this distance. Oh, this could be a war of attrition here for Tim Tszyu. He's just pecking away at Spencer. Spencer's allowing him by just standing at that distance, which plays to Tim's favor. Tim with a nice two-punch combination again knocks Spencer's head back. Spencer's holding one arm. Tim just continues to punch with his free hand. Oh, goodness. Nice hard right hand. Continues with the uppercuts. Body shot. Oh. Now Tim's just letting his hands go. He's pushing. Spencer's on the ropes, just covering up. Trying to fire back. Trying to fire back again, but Spencer needs to move his feet. Get up. Oh. Did the towel just get thrown in? That's it. Fight's over. Oh. Yeah, Tim just unleashed on Spencer. Spencer had no answer. It looks to me like his dad threw the towel in. Alright, so EQ says, does it look like Spencer's feeling Tim's punches? Yeah, he definitely felt those punches, and then good job, Tim Tszyu, just knowing when to turn it up and finish it off. Quite a bit of swelling on Joey Spencer's right eyebrow right here. Well, you say, hey, my name is in green. Green letters now, yeah, because you remember, you're a white belt. See the little symbol, white symbol with the fist in it? You're a white belt. I feel special. Cool. Thanks. Silas wants to go be called Raymond's. Okay. Hey, how much is the membership originally? It is normally. It is like $2.99 a month. So please consider continuing your membership next month. All right. Jen Lee says, nice analysis. Thank you so much, Jen Lee. Please do consider hitting the subscribe button and the notification bell. Also, you guys are all welcome to join as members. It's $2.99 a month. You earn a little white belt symbol like you see EQ has next to your username. It'll show up on these chats. It'll show up in the comments. And I do prioritize my replies to comments, and under all the videos. I'll prioritize it to my members. If I'm feeling inundated, members have priority in terms of me hitting replies. Alice Vlog says, see you. Okay, thanks, Alice Vlog. See you on the next one. Raymond says, happy face. Thank you so much, buddy. Really appreciate your generosity in gifting a couple memberships tonight. That was really, really kind of you, plus the super chat. You guys are awesome. So that was a pretty one-sided affair. Tszyu's back. He's in the win column. I'm not sure if that was PPC getting rid of Joey Spencer, throwing him to the wolves, so to speak. Because Tszyu's not a PBC fighter, right? So I don't know. Joey Spencer is a PBC fighter, so goodness, he's gonna have raccoon eyes tomorrow, that's for sure. Yeah, I just feel like, unfortunately for Joey, he's just not on that level yet. Kind of shows him what he needs to work on. Hopefully his whole corner took notes so they know what he needs to work on. And congrats to Tszyu. It's nice to see him back in the win column. I think this is Tszyu's wife getting in the ring now. Smiles on Tszyu's face. Well-deserved win. He deserves a win, after them throwing him to the wolves with Sebastian Fedora, that Sebastian Fedora fiasco, and then the world title fight right after that, getting in a world title fight with a hard fighter. He kind of deserved a comeback fight after the Fedora fiasco. So I'm glad to see him get his just desserts, so to speak. Hopefully Spencer got paid well. There's no real shame in the fact that he was outclassed. He's not on that level, world class level yet. So, Spencer's just got to go home and do some work. Jen Lee says, Tim's neurology still scares me. He needs much better defense. Yeah, he kind of prides himself in being a bit of a tough guy, but my main criticism of before is he tends to favor one side to slip more than the other. So I wish he would kind of balance that out, just to be less predictable potentially for a world class fighter. He is gonna have to pick up his defense. I agree with you, Jen Lee. So hopefully this will motivate him to just get back in the gym and keep pushing forward. I do hope Tszyu gets another title shot, down the road. I think he's a couple fights away from that, but have to say his wife doesn't look overly thrilled. I'm not sure if that's his wife or his girlfriend, but in any case. Alright guys, any final thoughts about this fight or any of the other fights tonight? Or any thoughts about the big MMA card next week? Give you guys a few more minutes. Tim is telling Keith Thurman to sign the contract. I'm not so sure I want to see that fight, but, you know, Keith Thurman is a name. Jen Lee's asking me if I saw the Abdullah Mason fight. No, I did not. I didn't see a lot of the fights that were on earlier today. Was that a good fight? Alright, well, big congratulations to Tszyu on getting back in the win column. Guys, I think I'm going to call it in a few moments. Just let me know if you have any final thoughts on the fights tonight or the upcoming MMA fights. Jen Lee says the Abdullah Mason fight was not a great fight. He was way too good for his opponent. Yeah, so it was a one-sided affair. That tends to be what's going on right now in boxing. I mean, Tszyu, Joey Spencer, further evidence of that. I mean, Spencer's just not on that level yet. But they made the match anyways. They put it as the main event, and they sold it to Amazon Prime. So, you know, that's the state of boxing. That's yet again another example of why Dana White says boxing is broken. But, you know, that's a whole nother video, you know, all the aspect of boxing being broken. I started doing that with my Boxing Biz 101 video. I'm thinking I'll continue that, make a 102 and kind of explain a little bit more about, you know, why we don't need judges to actually be corrupt, but the whole system is sort of built to be corrupt at this point, because and then what that leads to is non-competitive fights, because promoters and the broadcasters and the commissions and the sanctioning bodies all want the same person to win. For example, Gervonta Davis versus Lamont Roach. They wanted Tank to win, and so he won, even though he took a knee and should have been deducted a point, or that should have been a 10-8 round. And according to the scorecards, he then should have lost that fight. But, you know, too many people stand to make money from him winning versus Lamont Roach winning, so they're gonna back the guy who's gonna pay them more money. All right. That said, guys, EQ says, but I mean, most of the UFC fights suck, honestly. They all start to look like the same after a while. Well, I get that. I mean, you gotta also know that it's a long card, right? Because they have early prelims, the main card. I understand what you're saying, EQ, but it's a different animal, and I think they start to look the same because they are actually more competitive. Like, you wouldn't have this type of mismatch on a UFC card, because that's like taking somebody who's ranked 25 versus somebody who's ranked 5, and that's too far of a gap. They wouldn't make that kind of fight. But in any case, it is what it is, right? There were a lot of boxing cards on tonight. We got to see PBC, Top Rank, and Queensbury. So in terms of volume of, and also that Pro Box card. So in terms of volume of fights, there was a lot for us to pick from. Quality, not super high quality, but it is what it is, right? There's some. I mean, I actually thought that Joe Joyce fight versus Filip Perkovic was a decent heavyweight fight. Um, Even though neither one of them is like super polished, shall we say, I thought it was a good fight because they both came to fight and both men gave it their all in there, and were technically decent enough to make it a decent scrap. But that said, guys, it's just over an hour and a half, so again, if you haven't yet, please do hit subscribe, like, hit the notification bell so you know when we post our next bit of content, and do consider joining as a member. Just hit the join button if you navigate over to the channel page. All right, everybody, thank you so much for tuning in for the second live, and look forward to chatting with you again soon. Have a great one. Thank you so much. Thanks, Jen. Good night. Thanks, EQ. Thank you very much. I'll see you next time. Cool.